If you find this show informative or funny, you should tell your friends, your family. You got fingers. You got fingers. You got fingers. You got fingers. Come on.
5 different shows.
5 different shows.
5 days a week.
5 days a week. 5 different topics. 5 different reasons. You got finger. You got finger. You got finger. You got finger.
Fingered by Randy and Jason.
So, if you've been following us for a while, you know that we have a show called Ghost Fantasy, which is where we have two characters who are looking at paranormal stories to publish in their journal, and then we reenact. We act as those characters, but we also reenact the stories as like radio dramas almost. But we put
true paranormal stories.
Quote,
true.
And we put a funny spin on them, at least things that make us laugh anyways.
Yeah, right.
And but in that process, we did a ton of research for it to find the stories for the first series. And we also first started trying to just do a podcast where we just talked about those stories.
Yeah, initially we were like, okay, we want to talk about these paranormal stories because they are super interesting, sometimes ridiculous.
Yeah.
So our initial approach before we even considered making it like this audio drama, like / comedy thing, was to just do a general podcast about it. It didn't necessarily work out that well.
No.
We still had some good stories that wouldn't fit into what we were doing with Ghost Fantasy.
Yeah, these are 3 of the ones that would never fit to be reenacted.
Right.
As much as I wish I could make that happen.
If it was animated, it'd be a totally different story.
There's just so much of that stuff I like to use. I like the ridiculousness to be on them, not what we put into it all the time.
Right, yeah.
And then this stuff right here was just absurd. So the first one is from something called the Emirates247.com. And man hires prostitute that turned into donkey overnight. Right? That's a pretty good.
Good story.
You know, we've all made some mistakes. We've all gone home with someone and then said that person was a donkey. What was I thinking?
Right. This sounds like a situation where someone is like, "Oh no, that was actually witchcraft. I didn't sleep with a donkey."
Yeah. No. This person slept with a donkey. He says. The man thinks he's a donkey too.
Okay, that took a weird change.
Yeah.
That wasn't a guy trying to get out of a drunken night.
Well, I mean, you know, I think he's just trying to say we're all people.
Okay, maybe
we're all people. We're all God's creatures.
Maybe the original story didn't work. He's like, I really got to go full out. He's like, I'm a donkey too. Like, oh, this motherfucker's crazy. He's all sold.
It may have been the work of a genie or a sorcerer.
Shut up. Sorcerer.
Or just a Zimbabwean man off his rocker, for he claims in court that he had hired a prostitute who during the night transformed into a donkey.
Oh, imagine being the judge had to try that one. He's probably like, that had been such a nice change.
No, imagine you're just you're a young up and comer.
Right.
You're watching People's Court. You're like, yeah, I want to go to judge school.
Yeah.
That's where they go, right? Judge
school?
school?
Yeah, judge school, yeah.
So they go to judge school. He becomes a judge.
Uh-huh.
He has lines like, you're the boss, applesauce.
Right, yeah, he's like all his little zingers.
No nonsense.
Yeah.
Then this nonsense comes into his courtroom.
He's all, man. I mean, that's the case of a lifetime.
He says that he is now, quote, seriously in love, end quote, with the animal. State media said Wednesday. He says, I think I am also a donkey.
Mm-hmm.
I do not know what happened when I left the bar, but I'm seriously in love with the donkey.
So wait. Is he trying to insinuate that the donkey was at the bar with him? It's like, I don't know what happened when I left the bar. Like, I get the impression that he was hanging out with the donkey.
Right.
They were like playing darts or something. Had a couple drinks. Like, you want to go somewhere else?
Well, I mean, it was a prostitute at first.
Right.
So this was a donkey who walked into a bar, looked at it. It's probably voiced by Eddie Murphy.
Right.
And it just straight up said, I'll give you a handy for $25.
Right.
And he was like,
But
yeah.
just looked like a regular old run-of-the-mill
But-
prostitute that talked like Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, on the way out, they realized they both liked Casablanca, and it was their favorite movie. I don't know. I mean, I actually am curious about how this really did go down.
Right.
Like, what was, I mean,
I think a lot of people are.
Clearly, a prostitute picked him up.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, this fucking idiot is so drunk.
Mm-hmm.
I could just let him park it right in that donkey. I could take the money, and I could just take the night out. I could go watch Netflix.
You actually think it was that well orchestrated?
Probably. I mean, how else do you go hire a prostitute, and then you're just fucking giving it to a donkey?
I'm,
and then you fall in love with the. I mean, I'm saying that must be some good jackass, right?
I'm saying that there was never a prostitute. This guy got so wasted he just fucked the donkey.
So you just think he was just like put like fucking 25 in the donkey's like I don't know, cart strap. I don't know what donkeys have.
Every donkey comes equipped with a cart.
Does have a little cart behind it,
Or
right?
what's the fucking point?
He says he paid $25 for a prostitute and was surprised in the morning when he heard people accusing him of having sex with a donkey.
It wasn't sex, it was love.
Mayo has been charged with bestiality.
Uh-huh.
I wonder why he didn't get the prostitution charge too. The court has ordered him to undergo a mental examination, the Herald said.
That'd be awesome if he didn't get in trouble for bestiality, but he got charged with prostitution.
Oh, man. The donkey paid him.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this next one is about our aquatic friends. Armed and dangerous, Flipper, the firing dolphin, let loose by Katrina. You remember the horrible incident of Hurricane Katrina. But
oh, man.
It also, in all of that tragedy, something fucking pretty cool happened.
Something pretty fucking badass.
It may be the oddest tale to emerge from the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. Armed dolphins trained by the U.S. military to shoot terrorists and pinpoint spies underwater.
What is it?
May be missing in the Gulf of Mexico.
All right, before we move on.
By the way, really quick, I tried to look it up to find out there was an update. Did they ever find them?
Mm-hmm.
They're off the grid.
Yeah, that needs to be stated before we kind of break this down. They're missing in action.
Right.
And I think it's safe to assume they probably still have those machine guns strapped to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't put that down. They don't even have hands. They can't take it off.
So they're trained to take down terrorists.
Well, they're trained to take down underwater spies.
And underwater spies as well.
Yeah, so basically like when the Russians are coming over to fix our election.
When they're sending over their like grenade-toting manta rays.
Yeah.
Like the Dolphins will take them down.
Right.
But how do they differentiate these terrorists?
It's a fucking I think dolphins just look into your heart.
Right. And they're like, you have a terrorist heart.
Yeah.
Fire.
Something about your soul. I looked into his soul and I fired inside the
right.
dolphin. No, okay. Anyways, experts who have studied the U.S. Navy's cetacean? I don't know how you say this word.
Now I really remember the story because I remember when I had to read that.
Yeah.
I was like, God damn it.
Cetacean, I think. Training exercises claim the 36 mammals could be carrying 36 mammals could be carrying toxic dart guns.
Oh, it was toxic dart guns. That's what it was.
Dart guns.
Oh my god.
Divers and surfers risk attack, they claim, from a species considered to be among the planet's smartest.
They had to throw that in there. It's even better that it isn't like anything super lethal. Like you're gonna have, if you get shot with that, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm poisoned. I got poisoned by a dolphin.
Oh, that dolphin gave me diarrhea and I feel like shit right now.
Like, did that just happen?
I mean, this could be what leads to the real version of Planet of the Apes, but it's not apes, it's dolphins.
Yeah, right. Oh, no, please go on.
The U.S. Navy admits it has been training dolphins for military purposes and has refused to confirm that they are missing. Those dolphins' families don't even know.
They refuse to admit they're missing.
They're like,
we train dolphins. Yeah.
What happened to Seashell? Seashell's just gone.
This is so backwards. Like, they admit that they're training armed like dolphins, but they won't admit that they're fucking gone.
No, man. We didn't lose them. We didn't lose those toxic dark shooting dolphins. That wasn't me, man.
Yeah, no. The other way of like, no, we're not training dolphins. but some dolphins did get loose. That's the better way, I think, to approach this one.
Well, it turns out that there's a long history of training dolphins to kick ass.
Really?
Dolphins have been trained in attack and kill missions since the Cold War. That's what it says. A bunch of other stuff happens. Leo Sheridan, 72, a respected accident investigator who has worked for government and industry, said he had received intelligence from sources close to the U.S. government's Marine Fisheries Service confirming dolphins had escaped.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, my concern is that they have learnt to shoot at divers in wetsuits who have simulated terrorists and exercises. It's all they know, man. It's all they know.
You can't take the dolphin out of war.
If divers or windsurfers are mistaken for a spy or a suicide bomber, and if equipped with special harnesses carrying toxic darts they could fire. I like how it's if they're, like, they're not saying that they had them on. I have to think.
Right.
In reality, if you have, you're like, okay, seashell.
Yeah.
We're going out.
Seashell.
Seashell's
the dolphin's name
that's what
is
I've named
Seashell,
him.
yeah.
And so you're going to put the harness on Seashell.
Mm-hmm.
Seashell is going to go practice.
Right.
But then you're gonna have Seashell come back, and you're gonna give Seashell some fucking
like sardines, or some shit, yeah.
Maybe a sausage.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna take the harness off, I would think.
Right.
But I like that this story. It's just like, nah. What if they just wear it all the time?
Yeah.
And they're not. They haven't accidentally fired it. So some guy's just out there windsurfing.
Right.
He's like,
yeah. And there's like a group of dolphins like fucking jumping out of the water after him, like, you're fucking dead. It's all circling him and shit.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is, it's batshit insane to think of like all the money that goes into like military spending and our defense funds. And
well, this is why we don't have Meals on Wheels, Randy. Yeah, exactly. we can't feed the elderly and the sick. We have to really make sure that we have dolphins that could fuck some shit up.
We don't have Sesame Street, so we can find these fucking dolphins.
Right. And as we're about to go back into a Cold War,
yeah,
I appreciate it. The mystery surfaced when a separate group of dolphins was washed from a commercial oceanarium on the Mississippi coast during Katrina. 8 were found with the Navy's help, but the dolphins were not returned until U.S. Navy scientists had examined them. Okay. So anyways, they're just still out there just doing their fucking shit.
Right.
Just being dolphins.
Just hunting.
Probably some sort of elite squad of dolphin assassins that... So, yeah, if Jaws freaked you out, well...
Yeah.
Just wait. Just wait.
Watch out in those waters, guys.
Okay, so this one right here was, like, really weird. This one had a video, and the video... I'll try to put the video on Twitter. A man who volunteered to have his entire head put on a new body faces a fate worse than death, an expert has warned, while the surgeon set to do it has been described as nuts.
In my professional opinion, sir, you are nuts.
You are fucking nuts. You cannot take somebody's head and put it on a different body. That's fucking nuts.
But I'm not going to stop you.
I mean, can you imagine if that really happened, though? Like, if you could do that?
Yeah.
You'd have people that were, like, literally jacking other people's bodies.
Yeah.
Valery Spiridonov, who suffers from a debilitating Hoffman disease, says he is happy to have the experimental surgery carried out despite the risk it carries. But Dr. Hunt Badiger, president-elect of the American Association for Neurological Surgeons, says it's too risky.
You think?
He's saying, you know what, guys?
He did go to school.
You know what? He's all, I'm not one to judge. I didn't go to judge school.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say that it's a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with his professional opinion. I think it might be a bad idea to try to take your head off and put it on someone else's body.
Dr. Badger told CNN, I would not wish this on anyone. I would not allow anyone to do it to me, as there are a lot of things worse than death. It is feared that it could cause the 30-year-old patient to suffer levels of insanity never experienced before. That's fucking weird.
Like, how could it not, though?
Did you ever see those fucked up videos when you were young and
You're
on
talking
the internet,
about-
stupid, like the dog, where they tried to like do the dog? That was fucking
That shit's
nuts.
fucking crazy, man.
People are monsters.
Yeah, man.
It's not Frankenstein, it's the people. The operation is set to be done by Italian surgeon Dr. Sergio Canavaro.
Why has it got to be in Italian, man?
I know, right? But maybe we should get him on the show. Maybe we should interview him.
No, it worked.
It was pretty good.
That's pretty good.
It was a pretty spicy meatball. You take one meatball and you put the other meatball.
You think this is my body? This is not my body.
You think this is my penis? This is American penis.
Ta-da!
The operation is set to be done. But the doctor was described as nuts by Arthur Kaplan, the director of medical ethics at New York University.
Goddamn right.
They're like, our diagnostic is you're fucking nuts.
You're fucking nuts.
You're fucking batshit insane.
Don't need any more of a reason.
Right. So anyways, the doctor is raising funds for the operation still. I don't know. I couldn't find out if he ever got it. Church leaders have also hit out at the operation. A head transplant was carried out on a monkey 45 years ago.
Okay.
But it lived for just 8 days after the body rejected the new head.
Right.
The animal was left unable to breathe, unable to move, as the spinal cord was not connected properly.
If only they would have connected that spinal cord properly.
Right. I mean, I don't really want them to try it. I kind of think if you're fucked, then you're supposed to die. But, but sometimes people will get things that you are supposed to have and your body will reject it.
Right.
Like kidneys and
Yeah,
liver
yeah.
and stuff that is pretty run-of-the-mill stuff.
Yeah.
So, I'm just saying. I mean, you guys gave up? You guys said that was it? I mean...
Oh, so you're making a case for actually giving it a go.
Well, I'm saying at that point, you're so into science that you're willing to be a sociopath, to be a scientist. You're saying like, this is so important. I'm going to fucking cut off a living creature's head and try and swap it. And then you're like, well, you know what? That I'm good. I'm going to walk away right here. I'm going to leave it alone.
Right.
I tried it. It didn't work. I'll fucking move on. You know what I'll do? I'll fucking try a dog next. I mean, you would just you would think that that they would have kept going. I mean,
What do you think? Do you think if it's almost like someone wanting to euthanize themselves? Do you think it's okay if someone says, "Hey, I'm okay with having my head ripped off, and if you're willing to put it on this body, then go for it"?
I mean, I feel
there's
really
no victim here. Like everyone is like admitting that is okay. They consent to this.
Yeah.
Do you think it's okay?
Well, I mean, the guy, I feel bad for him. I think he's in such bad shape that he's like, yeah, just fucking cut off my head and put on something else. If I die, that's better than what I'm in. So
if the guy has a genuine hope that this is going to succeed.
See, that's where I think the problem is.
Right. You think this person's giving a false sense that this might actually be a successful procedure?
That's what it sounds like. And whenever there's a paradigm shift in science or in anything,
right,
there's one whole school has to die.
Yeah.
And the new school will rise out of it. And I don't think this is that instance. So I think it's taking that guy into a pretty weird place. But at the same time, I guess if I ever get in a flex situation like that, I think I'd rather go out like in a badass science experiment. Like I kind of want them to put my head on a dolphin's body with fucking toxic darts that I could fire neurologically.
Ideally, yes.
Like if I blink my eye twice, then I fire.
Right.
If I blink the other eye twice, the dart detonates. That's cool, right?
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It can be done. It can be done. You just need to transplant your brain into a dolphin. I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah, so those are our 3 stories that were too fucked up for Ghost Fancy.
I feel like we're missing. There was one other that I remembered.
Yeah.
Remember the bear?
Oh, yeah.
The fighting bear?
Oh, no. The fighting bear actually does turn up in the final episode of Ghost Fancy.
Oh, really? So
spoilers.
Okay. Spoilers if you haven't checked out Ghost Fancy yet.
Yeah.
The fighting bear will make it onto the show.
There's a slight time lapse. Mm-hmm. And then they are and the heroes of Ghost Fancy are in an interesting position.
Okay.
And so what they have to present in that situation allowed for the bear story to come in.
Nice.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When when we were drafting that, I fucked that story into it. I was
You
like, "You're
fucked
fucking
it.
getting in there, you little whore."
You just jammed it in there.
Yeah, I did not.
You didn't care if it fit or not.
I made it fit.
Damn right.
Yeah,
Damn right.
I tore into that.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah. So down the road, we will start putting. We're gonna remaster the first 4 episodes that were released.
5.
The 5th one they never heard.
Oh yeah, the 5th one was never released.
So yeah, we're remastering that too. We'll just tell them.
Yeah,
They
sure,
don't fucking
whatever.
know. They don't know.
You guys don't know.
But yeah, and then we'll
That was a
put
good
all-
episode too.
No, it's one of
That's
the
probably
best.
one of my favorite
Yeah.
episodes.
And then so between now and then we'll finish the 6th episode, and then we'll do something like, I think, like Ghost Fancy Fridays or something like that, where over like 6 weeks you'll get the whole entire remastered series that concludes all of series 1.
Yeah, I think we want to. I mean, obviously everything's still up in the air of how we want to do it, but I think we're going to try to do them in present them in shorter chunks.
Definitely for series 2.
Definitely for series 2. I'm not even. I almost want to do the first series remastered in shorter chunks, just to get that kind of becoming the standard for how we kind of release it from a listening standpoint.
When I looked at it, when I looked back at it, I was like, it's going to be hard to cut into. Like, I feel like like cutting into it it's going to be like taking off the head and putting it onto a different body difficult.
We can do it.
We can do it. So if they can do it, we can do it.
We can do it.
Yeah, but we'll figure out something, and then Ghost Fancy will continue.
Yeah,
and
Ghost Fancy's not stopping.
ironically, I'm wearing the Ghost Fancy shirt.
Yeah, you
today.
are. Very nice.
It's laundry day, turns out.
That's where those things went.
Yep. But pretty soon.
Yeah. So we'll keep you guys posted on that. Looking forward to getting that back out again, because that is a really fun one. But I think with that kind of schedule, it'll make that a little bit more manageable. Because if you have ever heard the show, you can check it out at Ghost Fancy on iTunes. It's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. So in
fact, don't even check it out yet.
Yeah, it's probably a better idea not to listen to it.
Just wait, because
the versions that we bring out will be more true to form moving forward.
They'll be more polished.
Yeah. But that's some of the stories that didn't go into Ghost Fancy, but were very much researched. They're actually the beginning of what Ghost Fancy became. So that's it, guys. We will see you again next time on another episode of Fingered. Say you're listening to the Fingered podcast and you're like, hey, I want these guys to talk about that thing. Send us an email at fingeredpodcast@gmail.com. If we like your idea, we'll say, hey, this person has a good idea. We should read that on the show.
And if you send it to us on Twitter, I'll see it, forget about it, probably just steal it.
So there you go. If you want credit for your ideas, send them to fingeredpodcast@gmail.com. You can find the podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, and the Google Play Store.